Hey, what's up guys? Brian Savage here with you. And part 2 of Mr. Dean here. And I'm going to put some strings on it and set it up. Before I do that, this again is the baby ML. And as you can see, she's all clean and sparkly. All clean and glary. Because it's a very, very silvery finish. Okay, so what I had to do is we'll start at the very back of it. Input jack loose, and all 4 screws holding the jack plate was loose. Back strap button loose, had to tighten it down. A string ferrule, as the string goes in through there, had a big burr, a machining mark on it that was going, and I noticed that when I took off the strings, I cut them here, and I looked at where they broke across there, and the A string had a really big, or A string, listen to me, D string rather, had a really big dent in it, really big dent, and it was cutting it. New tone, 500K with a 22K cap, and that's an orange cap. New volume, and it's a 500K. Switch was fine, it worked just fine and dandy. The bridge, the only thing I did to the bridge, of course, was clean it, and I flipped it around so the screws are facing this way versus this way. The reason I did that is that way I would have some able to get in there and make more adjustments to intonation. When the string came down and broke across, it broke across the string. There was no way I was going to get a screwdriver in there. I don't think it matters which direction this goes in, whether the screw heads are that way or the screw heads are this way. Some say they do, some say they don't. I don't know. To me it makes no difference. And believe it or not, when I got looking at this after I flipped it, I looked at the saddles, and this saddle has a very small gap, then it gets a little bigger, and this one here has a big gap. So originally these saddles were set up for, different gauge strings, of course, and set up for the screw heads to face the headstock. That is something to think about. A lot of them just have a little bit of a notch that's the same on each string. These saddles do not. Something I put on here just so when I string it up, I take a little piece of masking tape and stick it over one of the posts, then shove this down on there so whenever I turn it over it doesn't fall off. Pickups, all I did was clean pickups. We'll adjust pickup height after we get the strings on it. All 4 of the neck screws were loose. I could kick back and forth, so we tightened those down. The nut fell off, so I put just a little dab of CV glue, just the smallest little drop on either side, because the truss rod pocket sits there. Put a dab on either side and glued it back in position. But before I did that, I leveled and there's a million videos out there on how to level frets. I'll do one eventually. But anyway, I leveled, crowned, and polished all of them all the way down to, then I polished them with wadding polish. It's what I like to use. Some people will use other things. I find that I can control the amount that I put on them with the wadding polish. Do all that with the fretboard taped off, of course, and then I take the tape off, and then I condition the fretboard. Fretboard conditioning oil. What can I say? There's a million different opinions. It's about like a lot of other things. Linseed oil or lemon oil is the easiest to come by. Both of them will work, and both of them, I believe, are fine. Some people say no to linseed, some people say no to lemon oil. They both have their pros and their cons. But guys, if you're keeping your fretboard clean and conditioned on a regular basis, it doesn't matter which one you use, because you're not going to have an abundance of buildup of DNA and all this oils that you're putting on it. Keep it clean and keep it conditioned, and it doesn't matter, in my opinion. But you know what opinions are. Alright, next thing. Under that, of course, we had to adjust the truss rod, and we will probably have to do that again, but I wanted to put the truss rod cover back on it for now anyway while I'm stringing it up. Every single one of the tuners were loose. Both the screws in the back were loose, as well as the nuts on them all. They were all super, super loose. You could shake the guitar and... Well, of course, some of that might have had to do with there was a volume, or a knob inside the cavity. And then I threw some T-type, I guess, knobs is what you could call them. Knurled dome top knobs. Fit the pots really well. And they're good smooth pots. The only thing that I didn't like, and I did all the electronic fixes, of course, before I took the strings off of it to make sure everything worked. And the only thing I'm not satisfied with is the amount of sweep in the tone pot. But honestly, I know Dan, and Dan does not care. The other thing, this volume pot is, the taper on it's horrendous. It's like it's nothing, 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 a little bit, everything. But where it's everything and then a little bit within just a little movement, I kind of like that, and I think Dan will as well. He's starting to get where he uses his volume knob to decrease gain and breakup in his amp to clean up just a little bit for certain chimey parts and then dial in the thunder. Versus having to do a bunch of tap dancing. I went and got fingerprints on it. Like I said, I cleaned it. I didn't polish out the body because this is going to be a road guitar. So let's string it up. I got my handy radius gauge. This come from thefretwire.com. Can't plug those guys enough. They've been so kind to me. It looks like I got a 10-inch or 254 millimeter radius is what it looks like. Now, that really doesn't matter a whole lot unless I was using a radius block to sand and level the frets. Just throwing it out there to you guys. This is pre-radiused, or you should hope somewhat pre-radiused. It looks pretty flat, but who knows. Alright, strings. 9s. Now, I told Dan I'd hate it. I like to, he's going to play this guitar live and a half step down. And 9s on a 24 3/4 LP style, shorter scale length guitar is going to be floppy. He does not care. He wants this for all the bendy stuff that he's going to do. And I say, hey, that's what you want. Whoop. And as far as strings go, these are my strings of choice. This is actually what I string my Strats with, is 9 to 42s. I string my LPs with the heavy bottoms. Or sometimes I might grab a hybrid slinky, but I like 10s on my LP style, or 24 3/4 inch scale lengths, shorter scale lengths. I like to run 10s, if not sometimes even 11s. And you're not getting into 11 with this till you get to the next string. So, anyway, without further ado, let's do it. Now, what I like to do on these string through the bodies, hang them over the edge of my bench. I want to move you here, sorry for the shaky cam. I hang them over the edge of my bench. Excuse me. Got a frog in my throat. Coffee. Ah. Thank you. Wonderful. Whoever picked that bean, transported that bean, and roasted that bean, or beans, thank you for doing your job well. Alright, big string. Now, a lot of times it's easy to get this backwards. Always look for my strap button, which is pretty easy to find. It's there, and that, of course, is going to be the large string side. Blah, 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 blah. Open these away from your face just in case. Safety tip. Caution, caution. I don't think Ernie Balls say that on it, that caution may fly open deal, but some do. Ah, what we got here? 40 years ago, history was made. Introducing the 40th anniversary Old Smoothie Stingray, a faithful reproduction of the Stingray prototype number 26, Ernie Ball. And then an advertisement for some Cobalt Slinkies in there. Cool. Little thing I've never seen done before. I've never seen anyone do that, I don't think. Usually buy strings in bulk packs from my local dealer. And in some brands of strings, they even package bulk packs different. Ernie Ball does not. They're all the same. So I'd imagine even in the new bulk packs I would buy that have those flyers inside. Smart marketing idea, Mr. Sterling, if you're the one that did that. You know, I love doing this stuff. If I could do this for a living for the rest of my life, I would be a happy man. Some people enjoy it, some people don't. My friend is a it's my friend Dan. I've done a lot of his stuff on here. He's always picking up things and experimenting and tinkering, or wanting me to with his stuff. And Dan's the man. And Dan is a absolute phenomenally accomplished guitar player. Much better than I. But he doesn't like all this stuff. He likes gives it to me like you saw it in the first video, and I'm telling you, it did not, the video did it justice in the shape that it was in. The video did it justice. Alright, then I flip her around. Picked up some kind of garbage on that. Padding, padding, and more padding. It's got a big foam mat on it, and then I got a thin foam taped down to this wood. Yeah, I'm afraid I might drop something and dent it. Alright, everyone has an opinion on how you do this as well. This is the way that I do my strings without locking tuners. And I love locking tuners, and I believe they are worth the price for any guitar that you want to put them on. I don't care from the cheapest guitar down to the most expensive. Locking tuners is absolutely the way to go. And I'm going to be real particular about stringing up these angles. And just from, I've done this so many times in my life. People say, how do you get how much extra string to leave? And I tell them that it's just one of those things that you just, after a while, you just kind of, no, I don't know. You know, that's something else I'm thinking about as I'm doing this. Give me your comments if you have any experience in this category. And what I want to talk about is this. I have several of these. I've used them for a long time to wind up and wind down my strings as I change them. And I would love to know your opinion on them. I personally, I like them. It even has a little bridge pin puller on it. I've thought several times about getting one of the power ones because I do this quite frequently. On my guitars as well as customers and friends' guitars. And I've thought many times about getting one of those power winders. And I've heard people say, oh, those will strip out your tuning keys. I find that hard to believe. I've never stripped out a tuning key except for the old open back type. And that was more to do with the metal itself just giving way. I guess it would if, you know, cause extra friction. Not sure. Again, leave a comment as to your opinion on that. I'd love to know. And if you do not have one of those electric jobs or have not owned one of those electric jobs, don't tell me it's bad. I believe an experience of other people is a great tool to avoid some mistakes and learn some things in life and about the things you want to know about. But I also know that experience and opinions are very different. I want to hear about your experiences, and I guess as well as your opinions, but you know, I try not to pass judgment on something unless I've tried it or I've had enough people that I trust in whatever field it may be tell me that that's proper. And that's why I make the assumption that I got to keep this one high. I've made, if I've not experienced something, taken someone's advice without experiencing it myself, if I really trust the source. But I'm rambling, and that's not what I knew I would do, and speak very improper English if I tried to record while I was doing this. Again, the wife's been after me to record this stuff. Who cares about this stuff? Beautiful. See if I can get this A wound higher. Yeah, you can't keep. Again, this headstock, these Washburn, or not Washburn, but Dean oversized headstock. You cannot keep that A string, the way this nut is spaced, with that break angle on that headstock. You can't keep it from contacting that. I mean, it's just, you can't. And I tried loosening up and pulling this one this way a little bit and loosen this one up, see if it'd move in some as I tightened it down, and no, there wasn't any play in them, which I guess that's good. The holes were machined well. But, I don't like that. You know, in the grand scheme of things, it might not make a hill of beans a difference. Who knows? Alright. Yeah, we can do it from this side. I can't do it that way. It's backwards to me. I'm a righty. And some people will probably want to knock me because I don't set this up in playing position, but I will remeasure it in playing position. I think my batteries. And tuning keys are poo. Well, Jack be nimble. I forgot to take that piece of tape out of there. I have to go back and do that. That's alright. We're somewhat tuned to pitch. Let's check that neck relief. It is so blazing hot out in this garage right now. so blazing hot. It's a little tight. It's alright. Let's see if his tension doesn't draw some into it. We'll leave it that way. It's about 10 thousandths and I'm looking for 12. So I think it'll be alright. By the morning light. Alright, well. String action's next. I guess, but before I do that, might as well bite the bullet and back everything off. Yeah, so if you use that great masking tray trick that I just showed you earlier, remember, don't be a fool. Don't be a fool like I. And leave it on there. I'll bet you I had to back these things all the way out of here. Give them all I can. Give me all your loving. And this is why, and you know, you do this kind of stuff frequently anyway, up and down and up and down and up and down. And that's why I'm wondering about the whole electric deal. Because you see a lot of these guys using them on YouTube that do repairs and setups and whatnot. Am I living in the olden days? Back in my day, our fingers were just good enough. Oh, look what I did. Now I'm getting hot and frustrated. Just getting hot and frustrated. Oh well, that's the worst that happens to me. I'm still living the good life. Get on the saddle. Yeah, on the saddle. On the saddle. Yeah, on the saddle. Alright, they don't have to be tuned necessarily to pitch to do this, just as long as it's close. And I'm measuring at the 12th fret, and I want 0.06 to 0.075. This is going to be, I'm probably going to set this one maybe a little bit below that. On the big E, on the little E, I want 0.04 up to 0.055, and millimeters, I don't know what that is in millimeters. Sorry guys. Let me see. This thing have a little millimeter piece on it. So, let me see. It says on here 1.5 to 2 millimeters on the big E, on the little E, 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeters. How's that? Alright. I am right at 0.60 at the 12th fret. I mean, just right at it on that side. And again, I want 4/0 way high. Again, there's some tension on the strings just to keep them straight and they're not slacked and giving me a false reading, but there is not enough tension on them to hinder me adjusting this. Still too high. Yeah, so it bottomed it out all the way to get it there, but what do you know? I'm at 0.045 is what I would be at. Inches. Inch. Alright. Now it's going to be tuned to pitch and set intonation, and that's going to be here in a little bit because I'm burning up and I need to go in the house and cool off, and Obi's here watching us. Obi, you want to say hi to everybody? Come here, baby. Meow. Yeah. Say hi. Well, no, we don't want to say hi. Say hi. Anyway, guys, till next time, share the music, share the love. Peace out.